Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning to you and welcome to another exciting edition of Dominion Sport right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. You're about to experience another journey into the world of sports. And you know, as we do it on the show, we look at the local stories, thinking that fixtures from the NPFL match day 9. And also we'll be looking at the European scene, because football is back right here in the Premier League, the Spanish La Liga, the French Ligue 1, the Serie A, and also the German Bundesliga. All this and more on the show. Liverpool are set to welcome Manchester United at the Anfield. 2016 was the last time Manchester United picked up a victory right there at Anfield against Liverpool. All this and more on the show. I am Paul Abe Todwanimi, and I have the expert analyst himself, Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted report. Good morning to you, Samson. How are you feeling this wonderful morning?
Well, top of the morning to you, Tolu Alimi. It's really nice to be here to talk sports with you, and most definitely, today is Friday.
Yeah.
They say weekends are for actions,
yeah.
Mondays are for reactions.
Yeah.
Yes, it is time to talk about the actions set to go down on the weekend, and most definitely we'll come back on Monday to talk about the reaction.
Definitely. Definitely we'll be looking at the major news making the rounds in the MPFL. Let's look at the fixtures coming thick and fast right there as we look forward to the game. Also, a major focus is going to be on Shooting Stars right there in the MPFL this wonderful morning. But let's take a look at the fixtures coming up right there in the MPFL on your screen. Right about now, it's going to be a big one right there in the MPFL. As you look at it, Barrow are going to welcome Kano Pillars with a new manager. There was a report before today that they sacked the former manager. There was another report again that came out that he was not sacked. Then finally we're getting the report that they have a new management. Also, they're going to welcome a wounded Kano Pillars with so much sanctions. So that one is going to go down to the rubber. Also, we have big games also coming up right there in the MPFL. So look forward to that. On the screen. We look at Bayelsa United against Kun Khalifa. We look at El Kanemi Warriors against Wiki Toris. Eyimba are going to welcome Warriors. We have Ikorodu City welcoming Nasarawa United. Kwara United against Castina. Niger Tornadoes against Plateau United. Remo Stars against Rangers International. And we have Shooting Stars against Abia Warriors. There you have it on the screen. Samson Balogun, let's pick up with the game between Barrow and Kano Pillars.
Well, it's going to be an interesting encounter between these two teams. Barrow FC is going to be hosting Kano Pillars. Kano Pillars have, so far this season, they have had their fair share of struggles, especially when it comes to performances and you know, indiscipline on the part of the fans and the management of the team. I mean, it's a really disastrous period for them.
Yeah.
They are trying to make things happen and see how they can turn things around. Yes, it was almost looking like that against Shooting Star Sports Club of Ibadan before you know, the crisis occurred. So I think right now that they have a new coach, there's going to be a new approach. And the players were raring to go, at least to make a point. They know they don't, you know, that is not really their place on the log. With the caliber of players they parade, with the quality of play that they currently have, and most definitely, if you look at, you know, the kind of people at the helms of affairs, Ahmed Musa is one person that is expected to know more when it comes to management, when it comes to football and football management generally. So people expect so much from him. Probably that's one of the reasons why, you know, there is a lot of expectation, especially on that team. And if you look at the current crop of players they have in the team, I mean, it's not like they have, you know, very bad players. These players are okay, they are good. So what exactly is the problem? Probably it is managerial. We will see how that will pan out against Barao FC. I mean, we can't really say what will happen, but they are going to play against Barao FC at this time. And Barao, they have been inconsistent, won at a point, lost, and you know, it's not like they are also on a smooth sail. So playing against Kano Pillars is going to be a very big test for them. One, they might be intimidated because of the name. Two, you know, the quality is just there. You can't compare Kano Pillars to Barao FC. Barao FC are newbies when it comes to the MPFL, and Kano Pillars have been around for a long, long time. So let's see what will happen, but I'm still tipping that Kano Pillars will carry the day against
all right. Red Stars against Rangers International would not happen this weekend because of the CAF second preliminary game coming up against Mamelodi Sundowns. Also, Rivers United also the game postponed against the Mozambique side, the Black Bulls of Mozambique. That one also happening this weekend in the CAF Champions League. Something about to go. Which game is looking like a more entertaining game this weekend right here in the fixtures for you?
Well, I think every game has a place when it comes to the NPFL this season. It's going to be a really interesting one, but the most difficult encounter for this weekend will now be Shooting Stars hosting Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors are doing really fine in the league this season. Shooting Stars are building a momentum. They got 3 straight victories on the bounce, got a draw away to Kano Pillars, even though it was disrupted by, you know, chaos and the likes. But then they have a point to prove. They are coming back home. To douse all tension, to put the team back where they belong, they need all 3 points against Abia Warriors. Will they be able to gather all those points? That's another question. If you look at how Shooting Stars step up, is set up this season, they rely so much on you know, what the wingers bring to the table. Now, Ismail Ayodele has been fantastic, sometimes as a starter, sometimes coming from the bench. We see what he's capable of doing. We have seen Promise Awosami also, you know, bringing his contribution to the team. But you cannot underestimate what happens in the Shooting Stars midfield. They have been excellent so far this season. Aziz doubted by so many people. But then if you look at what he brings to the table, he brings calm, he brings an understanding of the game. He reads the game well, knows exactly where to be per time. And if you look at the you know, ever amazing Kabiru Tijani, I mean, if injury, barring any forms of injury, I think he's going to be the go-to man for Shooting Stars this season. He has turned things around, and most definitely he is the box-to-box midfielder Shooting Stars have been lacking for a long time, and I think he's fitting that bill. And most definitely you talk about Agba, who is also there, you know, doing a fantastic job. So the midfield trio have a lot to do, because as a winger is useless when they are not being fed, when they are not being supplied. So if the supply channel is blocked, there is a problem. And Abia Warriors knows exactly what to do. They know that to stop Shooting Stars from you know, going on a rampage, you have to block the supply channel. So will they stand up and do more than they used to do against Abia Warriors and get the maximum results? I know, from my own opinion, I don't think Shooting Stars will lose at home, but I am not too sure they're going to get maximum 3 points.
All right, Samson has already opened up the topic on Shooting Stars against Abia Warriors. But before we get back to that also, let's look at the standings right there for the MPFL as we look forward to the fixtures coming thick and faster this Sunday. There you have it. Nasarawa United are sitting on top of the table with 19 points, but Abia Warriors who are going to come straight to Shooting Stars also sitting 15 on the log of the table. We have Eyimba, a game in. They have a game also this weekend. We have Rivers United, we have Shooting Stars, we have Castina Rangers International in Corridor City. Then when you look at the peg of the log of the table, you have Kano Pillars on 17. You have Kun Khalifat, you have Benjamin Insurance, and you have Bara also on 5 points, sitting 20 on the log of the table. Let's look at the top goal scorers for this season so far in March the 8th. As we look at that on the screen, yes, we have Owokere Ebuka with 5 goals for Kun Khalifat, fantastic player for them. Also, you look at Godwin Obaje with 4 goals. Rangers International, you spoke about this man. This week, also we look at Ibrahim Yahaya, also with 3 goals. We have Jonathan Meriga also with 3 goals. And you have Daddy Abdurrahman with 3 goals. If you can have the top goal scorers on the screen at this point in time, something for you, fantastic season for these players so far in March the 8th.
Well, Ebuka has done a very good job, getting 5 goals for Kun Khalifat. Is doing fantastically well at this time. Will he continue this run of form? Will experience come to play when it matters most? That's another question. But if you look at who is following him closely, that's the Rangers International man, Godwin Obaje. Yeah. He's been around for a long time. I mean, that's one of the veterans of the NPFL. He's a fantastic player, very experienced. And if you look at the caliber of teams he has played for in the NPFL, of course, you have to give him his flowers. So he's doing really well. Jonathan Mariga is not doing bad. Yeah. Of course, Ibrahim Yahya for Barao FC. But then if you still look at some of these teams, I mean, Daddy Abdurrahman was a former Shooting Stars player. I think he was there last season. Now he's with El Kanemi Warriors, getting 3 goals right there. In fact, he was one of the players people thought were going to be retained as Shooting Stars, including Monday Gideon. Unfortunately, they were not retained, and they now play for other teams. But right now, I see Godwin Obaje, doing better because Rangers International they are not slowing down. If you look at the level of consistency in the last few games, they didn't start too well, but they are trying to manage the situation. But they are not that consistent like you would want Rangers International to be. But if they can stay consistent, if they can keep winning games, most definitely among the goals will be Godwin Obaje, and this might just be another season where he claims the top scorer award.
All right, let's look at the game between Shooting Stars and Abia Warriors. As the player, already prepared right here for that one. There you have it on the screen. It's going to be a massive one. I think a big shout out whosoever it is that's creating this wonderful graphics. Creativity. That's massive creativity.
You remember this game?
Yeah, come on, come on. Come on, I honestly speaking, I was so much of a game lover. So when I saw this, I'm like, massive creativity. You're talking massive creativity. Right. There you have 3SA going to welcome Abia Warriors. It's going to be a big game right there at the Lakers Salami Stadium. And there you have the players also training for that game as at yesterday. They're getting prepared already. Samson already gave us a tidbit of what to expect. I'm just going to ask a few questions as we look at also the head-to-head with these players, ahead of this one. You spoke about Shooting Stars, 3 wins on the bounce, and they had a draw, against Kano Pillars. Also, you look at Abia Warriors also not doing bad for themselves this season. Fantastic run, for Abia Warriors against El Kanemi Warriors. They picked up the victory, but it lost to Rangers International, away from home. You look at the win against Kwara United away from home. Abia Warriors, they defeated Remo Stars, and it's been a good run of form for them this season. But away from home, a little bit of struggle, here and there. And also, you look at their head-to-head stats, Abia Warriors against Shooting Stars, the last time they played that, Abia Warriors picked up the victory 3-1. Shooting Stars also winning on their home turf. You look at this head-to-head stats, it looks like it's going to favor Abia Warriors. It's going to favor, Shooting Stars. Depending on where they play. But right now, for you, Samson Balogun, how do you see, let's talk about Abia's Warriors' approach to this game against Shooting Stars. How do you see them approach this game away from home to an informed Shooting Stars at this point in time?
You see, it will be really bad if we think that Abia Warriors are now aware of their away form at this point. Every team, they know exactly where their weak link is, where the weak point is, and they will be doing everything humanly possible to make sure that they turn their fortunes around, especially on the road. And that's exactly what Abia Warriors will be looking at. They will be studying Shooting Stars clips right now to see where the errors are coming from. And we have always highlighted where the problems are coming from Shooting Stars. Miscommunication at the back, misplaced passes in midfield, not converting enough chances up front. We have spoken about that over and over again. And I think in the last few games, in the last 4 games to be specific, they have been able to correct a few things. Will they be able to carry that momentum into the game against Abia Warriors? That's another question. But they have an advantage over Abia Warriors for the fact that Abia Warriors, when they travel, they have always had one issue or the other. The loss of concentration, inability to convert chances, and most definitely, fatigue also plays a role, because most of these teams travel on the road. They are usually not in the flights where you get maximum time to rest when you get to your location. So this will also help Shooting Stars in this game. But do not forget that we said the same thing against Plateau United. That Plateau was struggling and they were traveling from a far distance, and when they get here, fatigue should be one of the reasons Shooting Stars should walk away with maximum victory. Unfortunately, Shooting Stars left it late in that game. They nearly drew that game. So that might be the same case against Abia Warriors. So meaning that Shooting Stars will have to step up a little bit, maybe several notches ahead of Abia Warriors, and get things done as soon as possible. And in a game like this against a team like Abia Warriors, you have to get as many goals as possible in the first half. You seal the game in the first half. Otherwise, these teams will come back and then, you begin to struggle in the second half. Now, what am I saying? The first 10 minutes is not the time for you to study the game, especially when you are playing teams like this. You go all out, guns blazing, out of the blocks in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, at least get the first goal. And then you keep pressing until you get another goal. Otherwise, it happened, I think, against the Ikorodu City. They got a goal, they relaxed, the Ikorodu equalized. So if they can actually keep pressing until they get a second goal, I think that will seal the game. But if they fail to score in the first half, they have a big challenge on their hand, and it might not be a replica of what happened against Plateau United.
Samson Balogun, you are one to always talk about the defense position of Shooting Stars this season. There you have it on the screen. They tend to always concede goal. The last time they did not concede a goal was against Plateau United, which you said they left it later, right there in that game on their own turf. But there you have it. Conceding goals is one of their habits. And you see them. I've then found out a system on how to manage that situation without conceding a goal and getting the victory.
I don't think they have fashioned a way out to stop opponents from getting the goals against them. And if you look at the standard procedure, standard protocol when it comes to football, as long as you have not conceded, you stand a chance of winning the game.
I agree.
And the best form of defense is to keep attacking. So if you stayed back and say, oh, let's defend this one goal, just like they did against the Ikorodu City, you are going to pay dearly if the opposition finally find a way to break down your defense. So it's going to be a major challenge. And I think Coach Nuruddin Awerodo, to a great extent, they have been able to reduce the margins of error in how they play. When the season started, we saw misplaced passes here and there, especially in midfield. Ayobami Jr. getting to play with Aziz for the first time, playing in the midfield trio of Aziz, Ayobami Jr. and Kabiru Tijani, and at the point it was Adebayo Kante. At the point I think Alex Agawa also came in. So there was no stability in what was going on in the Shooting Stars midfield. But in the last 3 or 4 games, there is stability. They know who the starting three would be. It is Kabiru Tijani, Ayobami Jr. and Aziz. Most times, even away from home. So it's bringing a level of a certain level of stability into the team. They know where each and every player is per time. So you are not looking for who to give the ball to, because you know where that person is going to be. And the good thing about playing in midfield is for you to predict where your partner will be on the field of play without looking. So you already know the moment you turn, you receive the ball, you open up, you know exactly where to put the ball without thinking. So it's because you don't have too many time, the time is very short for you to think. So that's where you say, oh, he's sleeping on the ball, because he's already he has not found his partner and is thinking of what to do with the ball, and then boom, the ball is taken away from you. So I think Shooting Stars now have a level of stability, and that will play an important role against Abia Warriors, especially in the midfield.
Something you talk about ability in defense, attack-wise, it's been a struggle. We know that. So there's a major struggle. The only stability you talk about right now is the midfield engine, which is already stable, where the passes can come in. We can distribute this ball to get the goals. But you look at the last 5 games, it's a little bit of struggle of goals in that attack system. And I remember, because I hold your words dearly. You talk about the struggle of having a comfortable striker, a good striker. We just currently, I'm sure we just have 1 or 2 Sadiq Ibrahim, for Shooting Stars this season. How do we, how do the team like Coach Ndawero and his team Shooting Stars stabilize that attack system and get the goals coming in? Because you look at it, if it's not coming from the striker, is it not coming from the wingers? If it's not coming from the wingers, coming from the midfield. But how do we get these goals shipped in properly and have massive goals coming in, so that if the defensive position is lacking behind a little bit, we know that we have goals already in the bank.
You see, it's a challenge Shooting Stars have not been able to sort. Unfortunately, the transfer window is closed as we speak. But one thing is certain: it's not like they don't have other strikers in the team. But sometimes the coach trusts a certain player too much that he doesn't want to risk anything.
I agree.
I could remember there was a time Kamar came on board and then got a goal for Shooting Stars. I think it was away from home. Maybe I will remember the team. He got a goal away from home, and then it was a 1-1 draw away from home just this season. So if he's given opportunities just like Sadiq Ibrahim is given, I think he stands a chance of also, proving what he's capable of doing. At least this is not his first time in the MPFL, so he has been there. He knows what to do when given the opportunity, and there are other players too who can actually come in and be makeshift strikers in the team.
Yeah.
I was one of the people when the team unveiling was done that said, look, who are your strikers in this team? Yeah. Yes, we saw Sadiq Ibrahim last season. He's one of the most hard-working strikers you can find in the MPFL. Unfortunately, he's the only player in that team that has the same energy as a striker. Don't get me wrong, as a striker. So how about getting other players with the same level of energy? Yes, the coach wants to play fluid football, that anyone can score goals. I mean, giving opportunities to everyone to attempt at the goal. Look at what happened. It's creativity. Against Kano Pillars, Mustafa Adam came on board and then from nowhere, from that distance, shot at the goalkeeper and got a goal. Yes, it's good when you have so many goal scorers in your team, but it's going to be rather unfortunate when you have a striker that cannot pocket, pick the pocket of other, that cannot pick the pocket of other defenders. So it's a challenge Shooting Stars are really working on. I think they are working on it. They are building the team around Sadiq Ibrahim as the only out-and-out striker that they feel they can recognize, but I feel Kamal can also do a very good job giving an opportunity. Beautiful. But going forward, I think there should be a little bit reduced liberty for other players and then focus on how you can make your striker score goals. So it's one thing I know they are working on. So let's see what happens.
All right, I'm just going to ask you your predictions. What's your predictions for that game quickly?
For Shooting Stars, maybe 2-1.
2-1 in favor of Shooting Stars is what the official captain is giving ahead of that word at Lakers Salami Stadium. So make sure you're there supporting and raising your banner for Shooting Stars against Abia Warriors. Let's look at more stories making the round in the world of sport this wonderful morning. We're taking the story from the camp of the Super Falcons. 2026 Women's AFCON qualifying race. Justin Madugu calls Ajiba Deuna Dozen 19 others for a clash with Benin Republic. It's not over yet with Benin Republic.
Right. Benin is still in the pipeline.
I remember we talked about the badminton. We had Benin Republic. Now we're having Benin Republic.
You cannot escape Benin Republic. We are neighbors.
I remember Samson said we are neighbors.
We are neighbors.
That's why we share rice and everything at the middle of the road. That's fine. But let's look at this one. Days after the senior men's national team of Nigeria Super Eagles dashed Benin Republic dream of their first ever FIFA World Cup appearance, the senior women's team Super Falcons are all set to stop their counterpart from the same country from reaching the Women's African Cup of Nations. Both West African neighbors clash in the final qualifying fixtures for the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations Championship hosted by Morocco, which serves as Africa's qualifying tournament for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup finals to be hosted by Brazil. 10-time champions, Nigerians are the overdogs in this fixtures by a country mile. For both encounters, starting the first leg at the Stade Kwame Lomé Stadium, Benin Republic does not have a CAF-approved venue. Nigeria's head coach Justin Madigo has called up with 21 players, including 3 goalkeepers, 7 defenders, and 5 midfielders, and 6 forward. They include Captain Rasheedat Ajibade, who was voted the player of the tournament at this year's Women's AFCON in Morocco. Nigeria won and only on Thursday night scored for the new club Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Women's Champions League with Real Madrid, as well as Chiamaka, the goalkeeper, Nando's the African's goalkeeper of the year 2 times yet running. Defender Michela Loze and Ashley Plumtree, midfielders Jennifer Cheginim, Deborah Abiodun, and forward Azizat Oshuala, Chiwendu Iyezu, and Fola Shade Ijami Lucy making the list. Let's look at the list. Before that, this is the fixtures. It's going to come up on the 24th of October and also 28th of October. Before we look at the list, something fantastic list to look at. Chiamaka Nnadozie, Brighton of Albion, Andrin Mechebe, Rivers in Angels, fantastic goalkeeper. It's good to see that we are bringing, the goalkeepers from our own league, yes, to bring them into the mainstream team, and I'm so glad to see this wonderful goalkeeper. Also, we have Rachel, Anna Chukwu for Nasarawa Amazons. Defenders, the main ones, we have Osinachi Oale, we have Michela Loze, Ashley Plumtree, Blessing, Levida, we have Oluwatosin Dimeyin, we have Miracle, Asani, fantastic players already making this mainstream. And also, you look at the midfielder position, Rasheedat Ajibade, you look at forwards, we have Chiwendu Uwezo, Joy Omewa, we have Esther Okoronkwo, Azizat Oshuala. Come on, we can go on and on to mention these players, but something for you, the qualifiers upon us, and how do you see the Super Falcons and Justin Madugu PPS team ahead of this one, bringing in new players into the team to create a bond and chemistry going forward for this one?
You see, it's I have always credited Justin Madugu for doing a very good job when it comes to selection of players. And one thing that I'm happy about is that the local league is being given a form of exposure. We are getting to see quality players from the league getting the recognition they deserve. You were mentioning some of the goalkeepers, Chiamaka Nnadozie from Brighton and Hove Albion, and finally you have Andale Ngbechi in the team from Rivers.
If you can have the picture of that fantastic goalkeeper,
I mean, very fantastic goalkeeper. At least she was meant to be a part of the team before now, but unfortunately, whatever happened has been probably swept under the carpet, and she's now back with the team. I mean, fantastic player, you can call her one of the best goalkeepers you will find in the league. Let me say the best goalkeeper you will find in the league as we speak. So it's a very interesting one to see in that team. Invited. I mean, that one of the things you would want to do as a person is to represent your country. And then when you are a very good player and you get the opportunity to do that, I mean, that's a thing of joy. And I see that she's going to bring a different dimension to goalkeeping in the team. Strong backup to Chiamaka Nnadozie. And I mean, this is a massive one by Justin Madugu. Going on, you see other players also invited. Shukurat Oladipo from AS Roma, Michela Loze, Hussein Dash, Ashley Plumtree from Al-Ittihad Ladies FC in Saudi Arabia. These are fantastic players. Some of them are players who had already been in the team, and some of them are newly invited players, just like we were talking about Anderlin. So it's one thing that I see the coach doing right now. I'm really encouraged. I'm really encouraged with the goalkeeper situation, because it's a blend of there's some goalkeepers names I would have seen here, but right now it's a new change. Chiamaka just the one remaining. Yes. So I think Rachel was also part of the team the last time. But then if you look at the approach to his selection, I'm really glad that that's one thing we do not do with the male football team, is that we are given real exposure to these ladies. I mean, if you look at what quality these girls are bringing on board, especially ladies who play the Nigerian League. I don't want to call them the local league now.
Nigerian League.
The Nigerian League. They are bringing a different vibe. When they play, you know that this is raw talent, this is a passion, and then most times when you see them after a tournament, they're already abroad. That's because they have what to sell. I mean, if you don't have a product to sell, I mean, you are never going to get a buyer. So that's what we are seeing, and the league is going to get matured more than what we are seeing. That's why we have always implored on the, the league management company, the NFF to invest in the, of course, female league in the country. Yes, I mean, at this point, we should have gotten to a stage where we play the full league and not the abridged league, just we still see it, so that the girls can have a full run of games and then be super ready for tournaments when the time comes. So congratulations to all the invited girls, and we do hope that when playing against Benin Republic, they do exactly what the Super Eagles of Nigeria did, for the World Cup qualifiers. And of course, this is the final qualifying phase for them, and I think this should be if not, barring any form of unforeseen circumstances, there should be a stroll in the park for the Super Falcons.
I agree. So let's see how far the Super Falcons can go. Before the international break against Liverpool, Enzo Maresca now banned. Before the international break against Liverpool, Enzo Maresca now banned, for one game. You look and for one game. You look at the setup right here. Nottingham Forest struggle. I don't want to say it's going to be a stroll in the park for Chelsea, but it's going to be a big game. Also, Brighton of Albion are going to welcome Newcastle. Burnley also going to welcome Leeds United. Now, Brighton of Albion goalkeeper has extended his contract right there, big one for them. Also, Newcastle having fantastic striker, Maldi getting in the goals back to back right there for Newcastle. Also, Burnley are going to welcome Leeds United, the teams from the Championship of Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. Also, Crystal Palace are finally getting defeated, before the international break. But it's going to be a big one because Antoine Semenyo is in great form this season for Bournemouth. Also, you look at Manchester City against Everton. It's going to be a big game between Pep Guardiola and also David Moyes. Also, Sunderland are going to welcome Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolverhampton Wanderers neither at this point against a good team like Sunderland. Also, Fulham are going to welcome Arsenal. Spurs on Sunday are going to welcome Aston Villa. A big game between Thomas Frank and also Unai Emery, and also the big one on Sunday, Super Sunday. Liverpool are going to welcome Manchester United. Before we talk about the big game on Sunday, let's look at the games for the week. Santi Balogun, Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. How does that game pan out, and what is it looking like for Ange Postecoglou and also Enzo Maresca's team?
Well, as it stands, Ange Postecoglou would want to turn things around. He's played a few games, about 6 or 7 games, and it's not really been a very good one for him, and I would want to turn things around. He made some statements when he got the job. In my second season, I always doing something. But got the job in my second season, I always doing something. But he has not been able to, do anything in his first season with the team. So it's really a struggle for him at this time. And if you look at the kickoff time, 12:30 is never a good time for any big team in the EPL. Most times it's usually a struggle. So for Chelsea playing at that time, that might be a very good time for Ange Postecoglou to actually, get something off Chelsea. Maybe a point, might not be a bad idea. And Chelsea too, so far this season, there has been a level of inconsistency. Before they won against Liverpool, they had about 3 defeats on the bounce, and it's not really been a very good one for them. So this is the time for them to prove a point, especially in the EPL, to say, oh, look, we rank as one of the best teams, and it shouldn't really be a problem. On paper, it shouldn't really be a problem for them defeating Nottingham Forest, but the EPL is way beyond what you see on paper.
I agree.
Sometimes your permutations and combinations do not work when you get to the field of play. So with the current setup, Kopama still, out injured, and some other players too, Wesley Fofana too, injured.
Some players getting red card also.
So it's the level of indiscipline in that team too so far this season is worthy of note, especially for the coach to see exactly where the problem is coming from. Yes, you want to be aggressive, you want to fight for every ball, but there should be a level of caution in what you do on the field of play. So that should be addressed. So going into this game, Chelsea might likely win. Well, I'm tipping Chelsea to win with the fact on the table, but Nottingham Forest might just be a problem for Chelsea in that game.
All right, we hope that the indiscipline problem with Chelsea will not play a part in this game. Also, let's look at another game, Fulham against Arsenal. For you look at Arsenal on top of the table this season, and if they pick up this form to the end of December, they remain on top of the table. But let's look at this game. Fulham are going to welcome Arsenal. How do you see this game for both teams, going into the match day 8?
It is usually a big game for Arsenal playing against Fulham. It's a derby. Fulham plays at the Craven Cottage, and that's still in London. So it's a London derby between these two teams. It is never going to be easy. If Fulham is not playing for anything, they will be playing for the bragging rights that they will play in London. So I think Arsenal, they have a little bit of an edge over Fulham as we speak. With the momentum, the only challenge I have is how they can balance that midfield in the absence of Martin Odegaard, who is out injured. Well, they have other players too, like Eberechi, who has come in to do a very good job. Martinelli also, coming off the bench to get some goals in the last few games. So that is a moral booster for the team. I just hope that having scattered all across the continent to go play for several national teams and then coming back again, they can start where they finished. and then continue with that same momentum. If they can do that, I think Fulham should not be a problem for Arsenal. Even if it is going to be a tough one, 2-1, 1-0, it's still going to be a victory for Arsenal.
Samson, just looking at the head-to-head start between those two teams, Fulham has lost 2 games on the road, back-to-back. They lost against Bournemouth and they lost against Aston Villa. For Arsenal, it's back-to-back victory right there, 4 wins in 4. You look at the Champions League, also getting a victory in the Premier League. They got a victory against West Ham, they got a victory against Newcastle, and also they got a victory against Port Vale right there in the Carabao Cup. But quick one, look at the head-to-head start. Arsenal won the last game, how that was at the Emirates Stadium. But you look at the game at the Craven Cottage, just like you said, ended in a 1-0 draw. Also, you look back in the year 2023, Fulham won that game, match day 20 at the Craven Cottage. Also, you look at another victory. The last time Arsenal won at the Craven Cottage, match day 27, was 2023. So it has been a struggle for them right there at the Craven Cottage. For you, can they get a point?
I think Arsenal should still be able to get a point. They are in a better place. They are in a better position. They have more quality of players. They are a bigger team than Fulham. I mean, the mentality for the players is different. So Arsenal should still be able to get, regardless of what the past looks like for them on the past fixtures. Arsenal should still be able to get maximum 3 points.
All right. Let's know your predictions right there in the comment section. What do you think about this game? Match day 8 fixtures coming thick and faster in the Premier League. So keep your focus on the screen and make sure you drop those predictions in the comment section. Let's look at the big game on Sunday, the Super Sunday. The last 10 meetings at Anfield. The last time Manchester United won at Anfield, Samson Balogun, was in the year January 2016.
Wow.
Now, you look at this stat, and ever since then, several things has happened since the last time Manchester United won a fixture. Now, Manchester United have had 6 managerial changes. So they've changed manager 6 times. Paul Pogba rejoined Manchester United, left for Juventus, was banned for 18 months, joined Monaco. Let's have those pictures, move swiftly. Also, Manchester City have won 6 Premier League titles, since the last time Manchester United won at Anfield. And Haaland has scored 94 Premier League goals drought. Also, you look at Leicester City, won the Premier League, were relegated from the Premier League, won the Championship, were relegated from the Premier League again. Also, you look at it, Madrid have won the UEFA Champions League 5 times. Cristiano Ronaldo has scored 430 professional goals. Tiger Woods has won 11 first major in 11 years at the 2019 Masters. Novak Djokovic has won 14 single titles at the Grand Slam event. Also, you look at Serena Williams has won 23rd Grand Slam single titles, roughly 8 weeks pregnant with her first child at the 2017 Australian Open. Her firstborn is now 7 years old. Come on, we go on and on. Lewis Hamilton has won 4 Formula 1 driver titles. You look at, come on, we can go on and on. Ahmad, you talked about this man. Duplantis also, has broken the pole vault world record 14 times. The last time Manchester United won it was in 2016, and this record has happened within that time. There you have the head-to-head, 20 wins. 20 wins for Liverpool, you have 29 wins for Manchester United and 18 draws. So it's in favor of Manchester United, but in Anfield is a bit of struggle for them. How do you see this one pan out? We're going to look at, we have the start already for this season for both teams. Let me start with Samson Balogun. For you, how do you look at this game for Manchester United? With the struggle of Liverpool this season, they're actually struggling this season with run of form defensively. But Manchester United looking like a rejuvenated team, maybe after one game, and then the next game they struggle. For you, how do you see this game pan out for Arne Slot and also Ruben Amorim?
You see, when you compare these two teams, I feel Liverpool still have an edge over Manchester United.
Oh, wow, really?
Now, Anfield has been a fortress for so many teams that they usually get a result against anything that goes to Anfield. And, if you check their current form this season, yes, Liverpool have also struggled, but they are way better than Manchester United in terms of performance. And, it's not far-fetched. It's because Liverpool, they have been able to build a momentum, which they started the season with. Manchester United will play one game and then go to sleep the next one. I mean, if they can continue with the same zeal they use in playing one game and win, and then the next one, I think for the first time in how many months they were able to win 2 games back to back. So that tells you what the problem is with Manchester
No,
United.
funny how they even lost against Brentford. So
That's the problem.
So they didn't even win back to back.
That's the problem.
They won against Chelsea. You would have thought they win against Brentford.
Win against Brentford.
They lost. Then they won against Sunderland. So I'm
the
sure
last
if this happens against Liverpool,
the last time they won back to back, you know,
come on, we're talking years now.
So that's what we are saying. So there is a level of inconsistency. In fact, that's the highest level of inconsistency you can find anywhere. For Manchester United, they robbed Peter to pay Paul, especially in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And if you check Ruben Amorim and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was deemed to be the worst coach in the history of Manchester United, is way better in terms of statistics.
I agree.
If you check that of David Moyes, who was also in charge at the point, way better in terms of statistics. Even Michael Carrick had better statistics than, you know, in fact, way better.
Eric Ten Hag
Eric Ten Hag too. So Eric Ten Hag, before he left, was deemed to be, you know, the worst. I mean, he was condemned by so many. But if you check his statistics, put his trophies aside.
Okay.
Check his statistics as you speak, and compare that to the coach that will never change his style. I mean, it tells you how badly he has performed as a coach. But the Manchester United, you know, management are saying, look, we are with you at this time. That's what I said about projects. Some projects eventually lead to crisis.
Yeah.
You know, you start a project and eventually you end up in crisis. But that's what we are saying at Manchester.
Okay, so
the project is not projecting.
Okay, so go ahead, Samson.
The project is not projecting, and then it is already a crisis on their plate. So they know, yes, we already have a problem. Should we stick with this problem and finally sort it, or we can continue with this project and you know, see what will happen? Maybe we'll make managerial change in the long run. But Manchester United, for me, is one of the teams that really should not be in this kind of situation. Unfortunately, they have found themselves there. Liverpool against Manchester United.
Yeah.
It will be a struggle for Man United. Yes, they will start.
They always start well. Why not struggle for Liverpool?
Let me explain
quickly.
this. Manchester United will always start well. Yes, they are very good when it comes to the first 10, 15 this season. Go and check.
Yeah.
They are very good when it comes to starting the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. But then what happens after that? They go back to sleep, and then if they have not scored at the time, they will end up losing that game, or eventually it ends in a draw. We have seen some resurgence. Mason Mount has come out to, you know, be one of the best players in the team this season. You have seen a big signing in Konya. I mean, these are fantastic players. Benjamin Sesko too, even though he has not gotten so many goals, but he has been able to place himself strategically in the team, because there is no out-and-out striker in the team since the departure of Haaland to Napoli. So let's see the difference between these two teams. Liverpool, they have always been better this season in the second half. Manchester United are the best team you can find in the first 20 minutes of the game. So if Liverpool can contain Manchester United in the first half, then they are finished in the second half, because Liverpool will definitely get the necessary goals.
But actually, this Liverpool you're talking about also tend to struggle at the late minute of each game we have watched this season. We saw it against Chelsea, we saw it against the beginning of season Bournemouth. We saw it back-to-back this season.
Aside from what happened,
struggling.
Aside from what happened against you know, Chelsea, when they eventually, that was the first time they eventually lost in the dying seconds of a game this season. But they have been the ones to be on the winning end. But back-to-back, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, they have had problems. So let's see what will happen if you know, they can continue with the same momentum before Chelsea and you know, Crystal Palace broke it, or probably they will end for a stalemate.
Okay, I'm going to ask you your predictions quickly.
Well, it's going to end 3-1 in favor of Liverpool.
3-1 in favor of Liverpool is what the official captain is giving Liverpool ahead of this one right there at Anfield. Remember, the last time Manchester United won was in 2016. So make sure you drop your prediction. If you're a Manchester United fans, drop your prediction right there for this game between Liverpool and Manchester United. And also, if you're Never Walk Alone side, make sure you also drop your prediction. That's all we can take on show this wonderful Friday afternoon right here on Dominion Sports. Samson Balogun, a big thank you to you, and I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I hope your predictions come true. So I have two predictions. You actually picked you know, Shooting Stars to win against Abia Warriors, and you picked Liverpool to win against Manchester United. All right, we'll be there for that. All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe and keep watching Dominion Television, your channel of choice.